Welcome everyone from all parts of the world that you're joining us. We're starting right off because we do have a tight program for you today, and we kindly ask that you mute your microphone so we can begin. Thank you for joining us. Thank you from all parts of the world. My name is Lena Giacomopoulos, and I'm the Program Director of the Global Women's Leadership Network. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for the first ever virtual breakfast at GAC. And we know that for many of you, it is not actually breakfast time. And the breakfast session, this one is very, very unique. We actually had joining us for the breakfast 750 registrants. So you're joined by 750 of your closest credit union peers from 37 countries on all 6 continents where GWLN has a presence. And I would say you're all proudly wearing your GWLN pink. A live multicultural mosaic, and I think you all deserve a very large round of applause for that. Thank you. I'm sorry here, I'm hearing a bit of an echo. There we go, sorry about that. Just wanted to make sure. I want to thank our World Council President and CEO, Brian Branch, our Worldwide Foundation and World Council boards, our fundraising committee, our GWLN and Sister Society members and industry partners for joining us today. Of course, we want to extend a very, very large thank you to our major industry champions for all that you do and your continued support to this initiative. We're thrilled to have your boards, your leadership teams, and staff with us today. Thank you, Co-op Financial Services, CUNA Mutual Group, Connecta Federal Credit Union, and PSCU. GWLN continues to blaze that DEI trail throughout the worldwide credit union movement with a relevant purpose, that of advancing women. Since 2009, GWLN has been a fabric of diversity, a quilt of experiences that warms us as we all gather together to support each other during crisis, as we celebrate our successes, and as we stand strong to build for the
succès et nos constructions pour l'avenir.
Was to build a network across all boundaries, cultures, and languages to change societies by reaching families, women, and men of all colors, sexual orientation, and socioeconomic status. GWLN is inclusive, and we know that by bridging the inequality gaps, this requires us to unite stronger together. We have seen the global pandemic hit women the hardest. Women have suffered higher job losses, greater numbers of women have been pushed into poverty. And pre-COVID, the World Economic Forum estimated that overall, the global gender gap will close in 99.5 years. There has never been a more critical time to stand up for women. This month, the world shifts its focus to the experiences of women around the world for Women's History Month. People will reflect on the lessons from the past, the history women are living through and creating today, and what the future looks like for us in these ever-evolving times. On March 8th, we joined the international community to celebrate International Women's Day. And this year, the theme is Choose to Challenge. I always say that for our members, our society members across the globe, International Women's Day for us goes way, way beyond just one day. But I would like to ask our audience here today and all of you from all parts of the world that you're joining us to please raise your hands for a few seconds in this action, Choose to Challenge, all together through GWLN. Hold your hands just for a few seconds so our team can capture a few shots. And join us together as we celebrate International Women's Day, not just for March 8th, but all around the year. Just a few seconds if our team can take a few shots. Thank you. All righty. And now I would like you to hear the stories from our sister society leaders. We have the pleasure of hearing from a sister society leader from the Philippines and one from Uganda. And I am ecstatic that both of these ladies are joining us today in their respective regions in the globe. And it is very late in the Philippines. So thank you for joining us, Joselita, and thank you for joining us, Habiba from Uganda. Take it away.
Hello, I'm Joselita F. Cardona, Chief Executive Officer of Mostly Rosary Multipurpose Cooperative and Gender and Develop Representative to the Board of NATCO Network. I started working to our cooperative since 1989, and I am now at 31st year of service. I was one of the many scholars of our cooperative. I rose from the rank, from clerk to bookkeeper and accountant, and secretary to the board of directors to chief executive officer. When I became a member of Global Women Leadership Network in year 2019, I realized that I have an important role to make a difference in the lives of the women. I want to lead women's sector in our area in terms of entrepreneurship. Global Women Leadership Network, through our sister society, inspire me, motivate me, and help me focus on how to make our program for women be sustainable. As a CEO of our credit union, we have different programs and projects for the women. We created different women groups and gave them different livelihood programs based on their common area and common interests. We have group of indigenous people in our upland community, our group of women farmers, our women in jail or person deprived of liberty, women who has vices before but now they understand their important role in the family and in the community. We have also groups of mothers with autism child. We give them access to capital for their simple business. We have women livelihood sector for food, handicrafts, personal care and home care, and agricultural products. We gave them education and financial wellness, simple record keeping, trainings to enhance their skills, assist them to access to raw materials, and in terms of marketing, by selling their products online. Being a member of Global Women Leadership Network helps me a lot and deepen my purpose as a woman. It increases my confidence as a woman, that in my simple ways, I can make a difference. Thank you, Global Women Leadership Network, for letting me be part of the family. Mabuhay!
My name is Habiba Kent, Chairperson of Uganda Sister Society. I'm here to tell you about the impact Global Women Leadership Network has done in my life, in my community, and in my circle. And what Uganda Sister Society does, most of the leaders offer their time to teach women, to parent also, to teach teachers how to how to home parent. Others, they teach accountancy. All we give in all for the charity work. And I'm grateful for Global Women Leadership Network program, because the workshop that I attended, it made me to connect with women around the world, and it made me realize that the sky is only the limit. There's a lot that we can do. And when you go out in the community, you get overwhelmed and you're taken back, and you see the most important thing is education. And the other thing is empowerment. Because when these women know their right, they will be able to stand up. They will be able to voice up. And that's what we are looking at in our everyday life. That's all I have to say for now. Thank you, Global Women Leadership Network.
Well, thank you so much from all of our friends. I know that we're transitioning here. Thank you. It's wonderful to see everyone. It's wonderful to see the good mornings. I'm just so proud. I'm Sue Mitchell. And Lena, you were going to do a little introduction, and I just jumped right in. So go for it.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you. It's exciting to see Sue, to see the ladies from around the globe. And I want to share with the audience that both Joselita and Habib are actually GWLN scholarship winners in previous years. And it's been amazing to hear their stories. It's been amazing to work with them. So thank you, ladies, for letting us share with our broader audience. And now it is time for me to introduce Susan Mitchell, just in case you guys didn't know. A few things about Sue. Please join me in welcoming Sue. Sue's a formal title. She is the CEO of Mitchell Stankovic and Associates, a consulting firm that has provided over provided services to over 5,000 credit unions, consulting services, including strategic planning, board governance, and online education. She's a successful entrepreneur who started 2 companies and forged strategic alliances with Fortune 500 companies nationwide. Sue has created the Underground Collision to engage thought leaders in authentic dialogue regarding industry disruption, innovation, and critical business practices. She's joined the governing body of the CUDI Collective. She serves on the Worldwide Foundation board, and she is the founding chair of GWLN. She's worked with hundreds of volunteers worldwide over the years, building GWLN into the international force we are today. And some of you may know that with Sue, I collaborate often. I disagree sometimes, but I am inspired always. Thank you, Sue, for everything. Virtual floor is yours.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And to everybody out there, I'm nervous. So I was trying to follow the schedule and thought I'm supposed to jump right in here. So just let it be known that it's so impressive to see all of our friends from around the world. First, I want to thank Lena, and please join me in recognizing Lena and Olivia for their incredible pivot in 2020 to ensure global women push for progress in a time of real disruption. The world is better because of your work, and I just want everybody here to join me in just saying, well done, well done. Thank you. So from our first Global Women Breakfast, which was in the Credit Union House, to the Women's Museum, to our virtual from all over the world, wow. In 2009, Global Women's mission was to provide women with opportunities to make a measurable difference in the lives of each other, their credit unions, and their communities. And it is happening. I remember my first Sister Society meeting in the Bay Area. Then it was Michigan, and then it was the Mountain West Credit Union Association, and then traveling all over the United States, all of us, to kick off this wonderful effort on a local basis. And it is our goal to have sister societies in all 50 states by the end of 2020 to join our 130 sister societies in 6 continents. We only have a few states to go, and I'm happy to report that Senegal is going to be starting theirs this summer, and our first ever in Francophone West Africa. Volunteers are raising their hands worldwide. Thank you to all of you. From 85 countries, more than 4,500 women and men have connected with Global Women. 64 scholarships have been awarded, some to honor our heroes like Susan Adams and the AACC. Numerous empowerment grants have started business development centers in Asia, entrepreneurial enterprises in Macedonia. Hello, Ellie, I'm glad you're here with us today. Feeding families in Kenya, all our friends. And in the United States, the financial coaching for pregnant high school students who needed help to graduate and apply for college. As we look to the future, it's so enriching to know that Global Women raised over $475,000 last year to continue this programming and build scale. We want to recognize Patsy Van Auerkerk, our fundraising committee chair, Marcy Francesco, Carol Miller, Ruth Barnes, Stephanie Rupert, and Sarah Bang for all of your hard work. And we send our thanks out to all the credit unions and the CUSOs who have dedicated and become champions. The He for She movement demonstrates Global Women's inclusiveness and how we blaze the trail for diversity. We encourage men to become members and wear those pink ties to illustrate the visible commitment. If you don't have one, please go online because pink has become our major connector and a welcome donation as we witness a sea of pink at credit union events around the world. Lena said there's never been a more critical time to stand up for women.
Estamos em uma época muito crítica.
United States, since February, more than 2.2 million women have left the workforce, and women of color still face an unemployment rate that is double what it was in February, hovering at just under 10%. I want to also honor all of our colleagues and friends that have passed, especially most recently past Pat Wessenberg, who was a dear friend, and those that are ill. Your Global Women family is sending our love to you. Credit unions can be the differentiator in the United States and around the world. Global Women's leadership is strong. Our volunteers are prepared to increase strategic influence and garner worldwide attention that cooperatives are changing the world, the lives of people by advancing women of all colors. Now is the time to take action. Become a member, buy pink, volunteer, stand up for Global Women's Leadership Network. Thank you so much for the honor of being part of this wonderful network. Now, I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, the wonderful Manisha. Very excited today to introduce our speaker, the Honorable Manisha Singh. Manisha is currently the member of the Board of Advisors for the American Foreign Policy Council. She most recently served as the Assistant Secretary of State for the Economic and Business Affairs, a position for which she was unanimously confirmed by the U.S. Senate in 2017. The first woman to serve in this role, she led a team of 225 employees based in Washington with the support of over 2,000 economic officers posted in embassies around the world. She focused in leveling the playing field and providing opportunities for American companies and workers to compete in the global economy. She was also very interested in providing opportunities for women's economic rise in a program called Power, a results-oriented platform to promote women in entrepreneurship. Please welcome Manisha Singh.
Susan, thank you so much for that kind introduction. And I want to thank the Global Women's Leadership Network for the opportunity to speak with you today on economic stability and the role of women. I only wish that I could be addressing this group in person, because from reading about what your organization does, I think that you're a phenomenal group of women who live every day having an impact. I congratulate you all on the transformational work that you're doing. The thoughts that I'm sharing with you today aren't just about what I do, they're about who I am. The opportunities that I've received in my life have enabled me to become the person that I am today. And I want every young woman to have the same opportunities to succeed. My story begins in India. My grandparents on both sides of my family were subsistence farmers. None of them could read or write, but they ensured that their children attended school. Through hard work and education, both my parents left their villages. They got married, and I was born in a small town in India where my dad was a college professor. We later immigrated to Florida, where my father completed a PhD. He went there first, and my mom, my younger sister, and I would come a year later. My mother had never been on an airplane before, and here it was, her first airplane ride was on a trip 8,000 miles away from home. She tells me the story of getting on a plane with two small children. And somewhere over Europe, the plane had to make an emergency landing. She tells me of the human kindness of the passengers on the plane who helped her with my sister and me. And she said that my biggest concern at the time was that I had left my shoes on the plane. Perhaps this explains my large shoe collection today. I am living the American dream. I know that people say that, but not a day goes by that I don't feel it. I never forget how lucky I am. That's one of the reasons that I decided way back in high school, that I wanted to come work in Washington, D.C. I wanted to give back to a country that has given my family so much. On a trip to Washington, D.C., when I was in high school in Florida, at 15 years old, I remember standing on the steps of the Capitol thinking, this is where I want to be. So after law school, I packed my suitcase and I drove north. I started out at law firms and gained very valuable training. And then I went to Capitol Hill, just as I had planned. I focused on international economic and trade policy as a U.S. Senate staff member. I chose this area because it has a real impact on life, on our jobs, on the foundations of our society. I've always loved working for the American people. While I was working in the Senate, I was offered an appointment at the State Department in the Economic Bureau, which I accepted in 2007. And this is where I later returned in 2017 to become the Assistant Secretary of the Bureau, as Susan has described. I managed a large team, 225 people based in Washington, with the support of over 2,000 economic officers posted at our embassies worldwide. I reported directly to the Secretary of State, and I advised him on economic policy matters. Effectively utilizing economic tools to enact our foreign policy was my mission. I created two categories: empowering growth and securing our future. There were tools that we used to grow the economy and the workforce, which included advocating for American companies worldwide. We wanted to level the playing field to make sure that American companies and workers had an opportunity to compete and succeed. We also had a role in crafting security through economic policy. This meant utilizing sanctions, anti-money laundering tools, and investment screening to shape and change malign behaviors. Using economic tools effectively could eliminate the need for the U.S. government to use force. A former defense secretary once told me that he needed us to succeed as diplomats in solving conflicts so that putting American lives at risk would truly be a last resort. I've never forgotten this conversation. When I was first nominated to be Assistant Secretary, I researched my predecessors, going back to the beginning of the Bureau. Former Secretary of State Dean Acheson served as the first Assistant Secretary for Economic Affairs. I continued to look through the list, and it surprised me very much to see that I would be the first woman to lead the Bureau. This was very significant for me. I wanted to do what I could to provide other women with the opportunities that had been given to me. I made women's empowerment a central theme for the Bureau. I actively worked within the Bureau to give women senior roles and to find out what the obstacles might be so that the leadership could make sure to address them. My Bureau was also in charge of selecting the companies who were the winners of the Secretary of State's Awards for Corporate Excellence. There were categories such as sustainability and corporate citizenship. I decided to create the first ever category for women's economic empowerment and recognize companies which prioritize this issue. In 2018, the inaugural winner of this category was a company named Alafia, which was formed by a married couple. Rose was from the state of Washington, working as a Peace Corps volunteer in Togo, West Africa, where she met a local man, Oluwango. They married and they moved back to her home state of Washington, where they formed this company. Alafia produces fair trade skin products, which are sourced in Togo through women who collect the ingredients for shea butter. The products are then processed in a factory in Washington state, where they've created hundreds of jobs. Their sourcing and their supply chains all prioritize women contributors. This is the perfect example of doing well and doing good. My commitment to this issue led to the development of a signature initiative, which Susan mentioned, called POWER, Providing Opportunities for Women's Economic Rise, which is still working in the Bureau. POWER utilizes our embassies around the world to partner with the private sector on results-oriented programs benefiting women in business. The Bureau sends out solicitations for proposals. Our embassies respond with their ideas and their requests for funding. I had two criteria that I wanted met: a U.S. nexus and a concrete deliverable result. As the Economic Bureau, we wanted to make sure and connect the effort to American women entrepreneurs. And I didn't want to create a networking forum, many of which already exist and work very well. I wanted to connect women-led companies with capital resources, with funding, and with opportunities. In 2018, I saw a statistic that less than 3% of venture funding goes to women-owned startups. Less than 3%. As I was preparing for this address, I did some more research. In a study updated February 4th, just a few weeks ago, according to PitchBook, last year, companies founded solely by women garnered 2.5% of the total capital invested in venture-backed startups in the U.S. 2.5%. They explain that this statistic doesn't tell the whole story and that the situation is improving. But this is why the POWER platform is so important. Project funding went to POWER proposals, which connected women entrepreneurs with capital resources and training for pitch competitions. There were several proposals funded, and many more are in the pipeline. One of the projects was a submission by our consulate in Tijuana, Mexico, to provide resources for women-owned businesses and utilizing the benefits of the updated NAFTA, or the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA as it's known. Large multinational corporations were prepared to seek new business opportunities via USMCA. However, it was much more difficult for SMEs, many of which are women-owned companies. So the consulate's proposal was to create a workshop for these businesses on how to understand the benefits and utilize the new provisions of the new agreement. We received very positive feedback from the women entrepreneurs who took part in this training. We had another project funded for women in the wine industry. Our embassy in Paris was going to host a group of California-based women-owned wine companies who wanted to explore exporting their products to the French market. The event had been scheduled for March of last year, and sadly we had to cancel it due to the pandemic. But we funded many great projects, including in the areas of fintech, in STEM, and in increasing export opportunities for domestic women entrepreneurs. We've emphasized that power is an economic issue. The full participation of women in the labor force creates economic stability. It advances societies, and it has been shown to contribute to national GDP growth. And I don't state this as just my opinion, but as something which has been extensively researched and studied. McKinsey, which is known for its data-driven analysis, produced a report in 2015 which estimated that the participation of women in the economy at a rate equal to men would add up to $28 trillion, or 26% of annual global GDP in a 10-year time frame. McKinsey provided 6 recommended areas of focus: financial incentives and support, technology and infrastructure, the creation of economic opportunity, capacity building, advocacy and shaping attitudes, and laws, policies, and regulations. Power drew on many of these recommendations. Some more statistics that I thought might be interesting for this group in particular come from the International Finance Corporation. The IFC estimates that worldwide, there is a $300 billion gap in financing for women-owned small businesses, and that over 70% of women-owned SMEs suffer from inadequate or no access to financial services. The World Bank's Global Findex database estimates that almost 2 billion people remain unbanked, and that 56% of the unbanked are women. The result is more than just a lack of access to financial institutions. It impacts money spent on basic family needs, such as healthcare and education. The unbanked have lower percentages of labor force participation and higher rates of poverty. There are many more statistics available in line with these. And much of it requires just a common sense analysis. If countries fail to utilize a significant portion of their workforce and their intellectual capital, full economic productivity will not be reached, and some of the best ideas may never be found. These statistics are even more acute in our current pandemic economy, where SMEs and their workforce are bearing the brunt of this newly shaped economy. It's therefore even more critical that we identify solutions to fully engage and to re-engage every part of our workforce. And of course, this month is the ideal time to have this conversation. March is Women's History Month, and we're approaching International Women's Day on March 8th, the theme of which this year is Choose to Challenge. Indeed, we are challenging and we are looking at challenges. I also think that Women's History Month is an opportunity to reflect on the progress we've made and remember the giants on whose shoulders we stand. I think of my mother and her first airplane trip ever, which brought her to America. She's now a successful real estate agent in the state of Florida. I recall that last year we celebrated 100 years of the right to vote for women. And I think of the suffragettes who laid their lives on the line so that you and I can vote today. There were also great strides for women's economic participation. We observed the 33rd anniversary of the Women's Business Ownership Act of 1988 this past fall. This law affirmatively recognized the critical role that women play in the economy. It created a responsibility for government to identify barriers and to provide better access to capital and resources. It established a National Women's Business Council to review the status of women-owned enterprises. It wasn't that long ago, right here in the USA, that women were not able to independently own and finance their enterprises. All of these historical facts contributed to my goal in forming the Power Initiative. In my work, I've always spoken with interns, with young women, with anyone who might want to hear from me. And people would ask for my insights on how to move forward in their careers or how to succeed. My response has always been to stick to the basics. I look at this beautiful scarf, which Lana has sent to me, and within it, I can show you the basics. It's several strands of thread that are stronger because they are woven together. It is vibrant and it stands out no matter what other colors you wear with it. It's not a frail, fragile pink. It is a definite, bold pink. It is fearless. I want to close by saying thank you to Susan and to Lena for this opportunity to share my thoughts with you today. And I want to thank you all for being such inspirational leaders. It's been my privilege to speak with you. I hope that 2021 will bring you good health and good fortune. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Manisha. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us. We are really, really excited that you could be part of our program today. I personally would like to say Thank you for wearing your bold and fearless GWLN pink. We would like to thank you again for donating your time to be with us and share your experiences. I think everyone learned a lot today. So now we're going to be moving on, and it is time for us to present our 2020 Emerging Leader Award. And this year's award goes to Latrice Mclaughlin. She is the Community Engagement Officer with Connecta Federal Credit Union. And I had the true pleasure of first working with Latrice last year when she helped us successfully pull off our first virtual fundraiser last summer, which was Paid to Not Play. Latrice has more than 25 years in community engagement, partnering and supporting organizations throughout Northern and Southern California, including the Children's Miracle Network Hospitals, Alton Junior Youth Center, Ridgestone Family Center, Friendship Foundation, and the Estelle Van Meter Senior Center. From creating educational programs to spearheading numerous fundraisers, Latrice is passionate about empowering youth, serving the aging population, and engaging with her local sister society. She currently sits on the board of directors for the Torrance Area Chamber of Commerce, Connecta Community Foundation, and the Manhattan Beach Chamber of Commerce. I'm very excited to say congratulations, Latrice. The virtual floor is yours.
Thank you so much, and good morning, everyone. It is really an honor for me to receive the Emerging Leader Award, and I'm so thankful to Lena and to Sue Mitchell just for such a warm engagement in learning what Global Women's Leadership Network is really all about. And I take care of community engagement, as was said, with Connecta. And so thank you very much to Connecta Federal Credit Union and the leadership, of course, of Keith Sulzmeyer, who really, from the first time I had the opportunity to meet with him and talk about community, gave me a wonderful assignment of building our volunteer corps, which in 7 years later has seen over 4,000 hours of volunteer service. And so I really do think of Global Women's Leadership Network being that same type of resource, one of education and empowerment and leadership resources. I found a great quote that says, if you teach a boy, you educate an individual, but if you teach a girl, you educate a community. And that's really what Global Women means to me, and being able to meet the wonderful women in the SoCal Sister Society, which inspired us to create our own society within Connecta called the Connecta 99s. And it is really exciting to be with you guys in this effort moving forward. And again, would love to just thank our board of directors for their leadership and the ways that they've inspired so many in and around our community. I'd like to thank Keith, as I did before, Donna McNeely for her leadership as our COO of the company, and the huge hearts of the Connecta staff to be able to go out into the community to really give back and to be on. They really are a part of why you're seeing so much wonderful activity as they are the vehicle that go out and shake hands and meet people and help to meet needs. And it really began for me with my mother and my grandmother really teaching us to give back to others. My grandmother would always say to me, baby, it doesn't take a lot to show someone that you care about them. And really focusing on the small things, listening to people, looking them in the eye, and giving back. And so I'm eternally grateful for my mother, Lois, my father, Vernon, many of my aunts and uncles and my cousins, the wonderful support of my husband, of course, really helps us to, with every day, to think about and to give back. My sisters and brothers, we're all working together to really be able to reach out and to give back. And just a closing thought, when I think of emerge, I looked up the word emerge, and it says to become apparent, important, and prominent. And as we move forward with our efforts here with Global Women and in our own personal communities, Maya Angelou has a quote that says, there's no greater agony than burying the untold story inside you. And my goal is to continue to move forward, to shine, and to really unlock and help young women to unlock their untold stories. So thank you for having me. It is a pleasure.
Thank you, Latrice. Oh my goodness. I had the pleasure of getting to know Latrice as both the person she is and also the beautiful, beautiful singer that she is. And so her heart is in everything she does. So thank you. Now I'd like to move us forward, and I'm so excited to introduce our Athena Award winners. So let's reach out to Africa. So the Athena Award is inspired by the goddess of Greek mythology, who stands for strength, courage, and wisdom, and is presented to an individual or organization making an outstanding contribution to women's leadership in the international credit union movement. Your commitment to Global Women's has truly embodied the spirit of this award.
To be honest with you, I'm very honored to share this moment with you. And, you know, I've been around a while. I've seen lots of awards given for lots of people, but frankly, I have not seen awards as merited, as deserved as I do today, seeing Acosta and Cusco, George, Scholastica, seeing you guys receive this award. You've made a tremendous difference. And frankly, it just makes me really proud to be associated with you.
Now, to the chairman or chairlady, the Global Women Leadership Network, and Dr. Brian Branch, the president of the World Council, Lena, the CEO, my colleague George Obado in Africa, and the chair lady of the Global Women Leadership Network, Kenya Sister Society. Mine is really to appreciate. This came as a surprise to us. We have just been doing normal things in extraordinary way, hoping that we will help make women in this country achieve the qualities that are desired in leadership, not just in Kenya, but across the globe. My statement to them, when we launched this, I told the congregation of women, who initially we thought would be about 150 only, we ended up having about 450 when we launched this. I told them that we don't just want them to lead in the cooperative movement, but we want them also to open space for other leadership positions, including being CEOs, including being presidents in this country. And I told them that the most important thing is to baby walk even their children, their daughters. And that I appeal to the few men who are not more than 4 in the room to do the same with women, so that they can also gain a substantive role in the leadership of any part of the world, be it politics, and that's where the strength is. Because I believe that you educate one woman, you have educated a whole family of 8 or plus. So that kind of strength, surely you cannot compare with anything. Maybe you can only compare with a goddess, which represents the Athena who represents the goddess of strength. And I believe women have got excess energy. So on behalf of all women, I congratulate all the women before I congratulate ourselves, myself and Judy Bado. Congratulations, all the women who are in this forum. Congratulations to Scholar for leading this team. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and it's my honor.
First, I'd like to appreciate and take this particular honor on behalf of the team in the continent. It's a huge coincidence that Giorgio Toto, which I congratulate Kenya, Giorgio Toto is also board member of ACOSCA. So the journey for working to support gender inclusivity began some time back when ACOSCA realized that women are excluded in a significant portion on what the credit unions are doing in the continent. And this became one of the key agendas in the continent. I'm happy that for the last couple of years, when I met Dr. Brian Branch in Toto's office, We discussed about how Africa can play a role in various spaces across the continent and globally. One of the biggest gaps that we had was gender exclusion. And we feel as a credit union, our model is about inclusivity and not exclusivity. And we only hope and will continuously encourage our women across the continent and across the globe, when there is an opportunity, grab it for the benefit of the people around you. Do not feel you are lesser than those who are with you. Always feel that in this world, we are all equal. Perhaps you need to identify the men that will work with you in a culture, in an environment whereby there are cultural difficulties or cultural challenges. Men are used to doing things in a certain way, but the men that will work with you to support you and make others realize that the world has changed and we need to work in an inclusive manner. This particular honor award, I extend it to all the African women across that have worked tirelessly to support the initiatives that you're doing in terms of credit union. And I also like to push it to the men, likes of Giorgio Toto, who is a board member, very passionate to see that inclusion is part of our agenda as credit union. And thank you, Brand Branch, for providing us with that platform to engage with Global Women Leadership Network. Thank you.
A warm congratulations from myself as well, both to Cusco and to Acosta and all the amazing women and men that you all represent. I have the pleasure of representing Global Women's Leadership Network, and through the work that I've seen and the tremendous commitment and inspiration that comes from myself seeing all of our sister society leaders and the growing number of women engaging and connecting with sister societies in Africa. And we're happy to be sharing it and recognizing it with you, seeing you making the difference, bridging those gender gaps and closing inequality gaps. So we hope to see you all at the World Credit Union Conference, when we will be presenting Athena, I will say it in Greek, the Athena Award to our partners here at Cusco and Acosta. So thank you very much to everyone. Congratulations once again. There you go. Congratulations, everyone. Cusco and Acosta, my friends, and it's wonderful to have them joining us today. And now we are going to be moving on to our special announcement for the day. Let's take it away, Sue and Brian.
I want to share with you why I enjoy working with you. So, do you know the old adage where people say, be careful what you ask for?
Certainly.
Yeah, I kind of feel like you and I had the opportunity to meet, I attended some World Council functions and then had the opportunity to work with the board. And, we connected and you said, would you be interested in volunteering? And I raised my hand and I said, yes, not only would I be interested, but my family would be. And, our company will dedicate resources and we'll do what we can, right? And all of a sudden I found myself in Romania talking about marketing and mystery shopping and things like that. And it was like this moment, Brian, that I don't know if you call it an awakening, but it was the idea that we could take an idea and we could put it really into action. We could actually do something with it. And so the access that you gave to people and the access that you gave to me I was so grateful for it. And I also then felt so indebted. It's almost like it's not just a religion and a belief system, but you quietly get people to really love the journey. I'm not kidding. It's like whenever I think back to those days, and whether it was Papua New Guinea where we had no hot water, and Busia when we were out there and we've got a whole group of adventures and we just started, or you falling asleep and me realizing that it wasn't. It wasn't because I was boring. It was really because you took the opportunity whenever you could to get some rest with all the work that you're doing. But it really is something that changes people's lives, and you've done that for me. So, and my family. And so I think that thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Why have you liked working with me all these years?
Yeah, it's been quite a connection. I think we had some kind of connection in former lives, but it's about circles. So, it's been a journey. And when we first started, you were working on a very small circle, and that was that exchange that we had with the board and the CEO in Calgary. And you were trying to figure us strange animals out, and I said, and we had a little conversation about widening circles, and I was talking circles, you were talking circles, and so we set out on that journey, and then it went from that very narrowly defined circle to a slightly wider circle where you came and participated, did some trainings in some of our member events in some other countries. Then the circle got a little wider when you came and you participated in some of our regional activities and got to know more countries. And then the circle got a little bit wider, and that was about the Global Women Forum in Barcelona and kicking that off. And then the circle got a little bit bigger when you went out with us to see in the orphanage and a project, And then I realized, holy cow, I'm not driving this journey. You're driving it, because you were walking me through these circles of the Global Women's Forum, which was kind of a one-time event for those that could come to this in-venue event. And then you broadened it, and you had sister societies, and there were sister societies in all these different places around the U.S. So the circle was bigger. And then the circle got bigger because you were introducing sister societies and global women to other countries. And then, holy cow, it's world domination, because everywhere I would go, in these different countries, someone would grab me by the elbow and say, I'm the chairperson of my sister society, or, I lead the sister society out here. And so the world came back to me, and you had taken me on a journey of increasingly larger circles as well.
It's so funny because what you just reminded me of is when we went to Asia, and they were somewhat hesitant, if you will, to come up because of culture and differences and so on. But when we asked to do a selfie, do you remember that moment when it was kind of like a mosh pit at a concert where you and I were standing at the front, and all of a sudden, boom, and we had this sea of people, females and males, and you and I were just going, whoa, this is so cool. Thank you very much. And I am very proud of the work we've done and what we've created. And there is no better time to strengthen our path forward. It is wonderful to announce that I will be passing the baton to a new chair, an amazing woman who will carry the torch forward with Lena and the World Council team. But they can't do it alone. All of us must continue to push for progress as the pandemic has disproportionately impacted women. So rest assured that passing the baton does not mean standing down. In fact, I will be standing up as a member of the Credit Union DEI Collective Governing Board, and I will remain on the Worldwide Foundation Board as we focus on bridging the gap for all people. Together, credit union women and men will illustrate the cooperative principles that our founders believed in over 100 years ago. People helping people. Thank you, everyone.
Hey, Sue, Mom, surprise. I happen to know the people that are going to edit this video together, so I wanted to use it as an opportunity to say, you may be passing the baton, but your legacy, leadership, and love is going to live in all of our hearts forever. So we're going to miss you, and thank you.
Congratulations, Sue! Thank you! We miss you, sweet Sue!
We love you, Sue.
We love you, Sue!
This is Lucia Compassionate Children's Home. My name is Stella. We miss you.
Thank you, Sue, for all you do! Yay! We love you! You make a difference in our lives! Mabuhay!
Well, thank you, Sue, for your service and your leadership, and thank you to Mike and Brandy. Friends, for me, it's a great pleasure to introduce to you the chair of the Global Women Leadership Network, the incoming chair, Teresa Freeborn, previously the president and CEO of Exceed Financial Credit Union, and currently serving as president of Connective Federal Credit Union. Teresa has long been a major leader in the Global Women's Leadership Network, and her support for the network has been one of the strongest in our community. And I can tell you there have been many times when those of us at the World Council have turned to Teresa and asked her to help articulate the challenges that we face as a movement in addressing the obstacles that women face. Her contributions have been in the strategic development of the network and in public forums. She's provided mentoring and training for her international colleagues, and she has shared her passion for the work that you do in your local communities and in international forums. So, Teresa, you share part of the credit for the great success that is today this strong commitment of our global movement to increase the participation of women in credit union leadership. So everyone, please join me in welcoming Teresa, and thank you, Teresa, for receiving this baton.
Wow, thank you so much, Brian. I do have the baton, by the way. It just virtually appeared over here on my screen, which is fantastic. So first, thank you, Brian. My friend, I've known you for many, many years, and you have brought such dignity and grace to your role at World Council. It makes me so proud to have been able to work in some capacity with you all these years, and so I'm very excited about that. And Sue, oh my goodness, thank you for allowing me to carry on in your footsteps. And I am so very excited to accept this responsibility. And, you know, if I can do even half of what you've managed to do these many years, then man, I'll be delighted. You have taken such careful leadership and put so much energy into this role that, wow, what an organization we have created here. It's wonderful. I do want to make a quick shout out to Latrice. Latrice, it's so fabulous to be here to witness you to receive this prestigious award tonight and or today, wherever you happen to be, and this acknowledgement, because you know, I am so lucky and fortunate to be able to work alongside of you very soon as we come together as Connect and Exceed. So I look forward to that in just a few weeks, but I'm just delighted to see that acknowledgement today. And my friend Lena, man, I've only worked with you for about close to 4 years now at World Council, but the energy and your careful watch of this program is phenomenal, and it is why it sits where it sits today. So kudos to you for that careful watch. It's very important. But I think more importantly, to all the women out there, and I know we have a record attendance today. So great to see the enthusiasm here, but all of those women that belong to the Global Women's Leadership Network, you know, I promise not to let you down. We have so much to do, but I think together we can really continue the good work of advancing women in leadership roles throughout the world. So thank you for your trust in me. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Sue. Welcome, Teresa. You know, all these formalities. We're just on the hour. 2 more quick comments because I had a lot of people chatting throughout the hour asking if we could take, you know, group photos. So we are going to keep the call on for a few minutes more for whomever wants to take group shots at the end of the meeting. I want to, you know, welcome Teresa to official GWLN family from here onward. I really look forward to us continuing the work. And like you said, there is a lot of work that we can do together. So I'm very, very excited and enthused. Again, I need to come back and thank our major industry partners, Co-op Financial Services, CUNA Mutual Group, Connecta Federal Credit Union, and PSEU for allowing us to do the work that we do. Thank you to all our Worldwide Foundation and World Council teams that are behind the scenes helping us make this event successful. There's many people involved in all of this. So thank you to my colleagues across the board. And as you all know, I always like representing the people and all our members around the world. And on behalf of all the members and in true GWLN spirit, I say thank you to everyone for joining us and staying with us very late in some parts of the world. So gracias, merci beaucoup, shokran, spasibi, obrigada, salamat. Thank you, and efcharisto para poli for being with us today. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Take care.